Hi, and thank you so much for tuning in to your favorite political show, Mukami. Tonight, we are discussing about the issue of the Mau evictions. You've seen just recently, a lot of Kenyans, those who had encroached into the forest, are being evicted. The story is that the Mau forest story has been with us since, I don't know since when, and it's like we do not learn. So the Kenyan government has decided to evict the people who had encroached into the Mau so that the government can continue with its conservation efforts of the biggest forest in East Africa. Why are we here as a people discussing about the Mau? First of all, the Mau was gazetted as a forest reserve in 1954, and that means that no human activity should take place in the forest. But what has happened as years have gone by, we've had people going into the land, pretending the land belongs to them, and the government doing nothing about it. In 2004, the Dongo Commission, which was then looking into the issues of land use in Kenya, made very serious observations in that it observed that very powerful and big people in the then ruling party, KANU, had allocated themselves land in the Mau forest. Now, the Dongo Commission also recommended that they be termed as illegal allocation and they be revoked. That is what the government should have done at that time. They should have revoked the titles and they should have sent away people from the Mau forest. But what happened, even as we went on, more people became so close into that area because you have heard about the issue of the cat lane. With leaders talking about, oh, these people have not gone beyond the cut line, so they should be allowed to stay into the Mau. The fact is, those living in the Mau forest are there illegally, and of course the government should evict them. Now, the Mau forest has a lot of significance, not only in Kenya, but of course across East Africa. If you don't know how significant the Mau is, it's time you went into research and just found out how it is. But I'll just paint for you a picture of how important the forest is to the whole of East Africa. And of course, it's the biggest forest in East Africa. And about 10 million livelihoods depend on this ecosystem. If we come back to the issue of people encroaching into an area that has already been gazetted as forest land, what does that mean? And it's the same government that was there when these people started moving into the area. Now, the question we're asking is, when did the land stop being government land and now became private land, so that people started selling tracts of land to other unsuspecting buyers who now settled in the forest? When did that happen? Now, the ecosystem is being protected not because the government wants to, but it's because so that me, you, and the future generations can survive and can have something to look up to during in the future. Now, when leaders have come in and infiltrated into the topic, brought in politics, that's when we are losing it all. You've heard about Kipchumba Murkomen talking about, oh, these people should just stay, inciting people to stay in a place that has been gazetted as forest land. We expected that Kipchumba and other leaders from the Rift Valley who were complaining against the government eviction to tell their people that, hey, it's important to conserve this ecosystem for you and your future generations, so get out. And also the government should come out clear and also give alternative settlements for those who have been evicted. In terms of compensation, nobody should be compensated. Who is going to be compensated? People went into that land knowing very well that that land belongs to the government. So they did not care. They think that government property is everybody's property. It's not. So in all this issue about the Mau eviction, the government has somehow brought in chaos, because if the government was there when the people were getting into that forest land, we could not be where we are at this particular time. Also, the incitement of leaders about the issue of Mau should come to an end. There is no way we are going to mix issues of conservation of our environment with politics, because if we do, then we've lost the whole argument or the whole point about conserving our environment. If there are people who were moved by the government from Mount Kenya forest, from the Aberdares, from other forests, why wouldn't the people from the Mount be moved? How special are they? We are all equal as Kenyans. Whatever I'm done should be done to my fellow neighbor. So there's no point of the leader inciting his clansmen against the government action. Those citizens who have encroached into the Mau forest, they have started illegal logging. They have started settlements there. They are doing livestock. They are doing all sorts of activities there. Did they know? Did they do a research to find out whose land is this? Or they just assume, just typical of us Kenyans, that any land belongs to the community? Let's start being responsible citizens. Let's seek for information. Also, the government needs to create awareness on public properties. We have to be told by the government, this land belongs to the government, because most of us as Kenyans, we assume that government land is also our land, which is not the case. The government has its own activities it wants to do with the land. We also have our own individual activities we would want to do. So creation of an awareness is also important. But most of our responsibilities, rights for us as citizens, as I said earlier, if you are not responsible enough, you do not have any, you cannot demand any right. So the question we should be asking ourselves at this moment is, should the Mau evictees be compensated? From where I sit, it's a no. Why should you compensate a person who illegally acquired land? That's like, rewarding a thief for stealing from you. Who does that? Also, the government would be setting a very bad example, because it has not compensated other people who were evicted from their homes in the past. So you coming in and telling us you want to compensate the Mau evictees, it beats logic. And we would want to know, why would you want to compensate them? They illegally went into the forest knowing that it is a gazetted area, a forest area, that no human activity should take place. That money should go to its conservation, plant more trees, equip the Kenya Forestry Service with a lot of, with more staff and also with equipment. Ensure also there is the AP, for example, who may provide protection for the forest and such. But don't use our money to compensate people who illegally acquired that land. That will be setting a very, very, very bad precedent. My bottom line for today's topic is, you will connect on the issue of the degradation of the Mau to the floods that we've been experiencing in Narok, to the depletion of forests and depletion of lakes. If we do not seriously think about conservation of this Mau forest, then this means that our children will not have any ecosystem to enjoy come the near future. And what we need to do this time is join the government's effort to conserve the ecosystem. Let's avoid bringing politics into this issue. This is not about politics. It's not about the survival of a certain politician. It's the survival between you, me, and many other Kenyans. So right now, there's just so much that we can say about the Mau. As from where I sit, I'm not going to talk too much about the Mau until the last person is evicted from that forest. That's when we are going to talk about the conservation of the Mau. Thank you so much for tuning in to your favorite political show, Mukami. You can always like, subscribe at Mukami Show, that's on YouTube, and also click on alert notifications. Thank you so much. See you next time on our next show.